paraphrase. We should do what we did in Chicago in Los Angeles. We should do the same thing in Los Angeles in terms of getting the gangs to fight against each other. Imam Jamil, as you know, is in prison as a result of being convicted of killing an officer. Otis Jackson has come forward and said, I killed that officer. He has confessed. He has signed an affidavit. And not only did he confessed the first time, but the FBI tried to get him to retract his statement. And they tried to offer him a job in Atlanta, right? They're going to get him off the hook and give him a job in Atlanta. And Otis Jackson said, no, I killed that officer. He even said, take that blood on the cement and analyze that blood on the cement. And you will see that that blood matches mine. Imam Jamil is in prison because the government is still fearing the rise of a Messiah, their words. A leader who could be in the same vein as Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz. That is why Imam Jamil is in prison. And they do not want him on the streets. Because not only is he a Muslim now, of course, but he still has respect and contacts with ex-Black Panthers, with people who are ex-civil rights workers, with progressive whites in the labor movement and the anti-war movement. He has connections with them. So he could, if there was anyone who could have been, and who probably would have been, the major leader in this country, on the same vein, following the same vein of Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz, it was Imam Jamil. And that is why he's in prison to this day. Now, will the government take this affidavit, this signed affidavit from this Otis Jackson? Will they follow up on that? Doesn't seem like they're following up on it now. Wayne Williams was convicted of killing all these black children. And it was based on circumstantial evidence. It wasn't based on actual evidence, right? You know what it was based on? Fibers from a carpet. Seriously. Fibers, that was the main thing. Fibers from a carpet. It was circumstantial evidence at best. Had it been anyone else other than a black person, do you have any idea the type of upheaval that would have taken place in this country? Ronald Reagan provided an atmosphere of brutality, an atmosphere of out-and-out bloodshed on our communities, to the point that in the early 80s, the U.S. Justice Department sued the Philadelphia Police Department for their brutality. That's how bad the Philadelphia Police Department is. Way worse than the LAPD, if you can imagine that. The U.S. Justice Department sued the Philadelphia Police Department for their brutality. And so I beg to differ, sir, with respect to what you have brought up. Thank you for bringing it up.
May I just add one quick follow-up on Wayne
Okay.
Because
yes,
I remember before he was arrested, there was so much speculation that this was a hate crime, that some white person was going around murdering black children.
Or a white group.
White group, whatever. The question I always had in the back of my mind was, how could some white person go through the black part of Atlanta and pick up child after child after child in a car without attracting attention, without people say, hey, wait a minute, something's wrong here, call the cops?
That's real. Unless it's the cops who may be doing it. I'm just speculating, but you are too. We're both speculating. You know what I'm saying? Huh?
Except the jury convicted.
Of course, the jury has there was an Atlanta jury that also convicted Imam Jamil on false evidence. You know what Atlanta represents? Hey, check this out. You know what Atlanta is? You know how like Orange County, John Wayne Airport, Orange County, right? Like conservative, right-wing Orange County. You know what the place that's a conservative, right-wing black place is? Atlanta. Read the book called The Negro Move, Malcolm said. Check out the chapter on the black establishment. And if you go to the chapter on the black establishment, it's telling you how Atlanta, black Atlanta, is our Orange County. It's our straight up Orange County. When they talk about black people who have stuff in Atlanta, they have black malls in Atlanta. They got black malls in Atlanta. They do. There's a trip, right? And black suburbs, right? Big fine houses, black people in power in Atlanta. The poorest black children in the country are in Atlanta. Atlanta is a black conservative, is the black Orange County among black people. You doggone right, they convicted Imam Jamil. You doggone right, they convicted Wayne Williams on trumped up circumstantial evidence. That's the nature of Atlanta. This one? Oh. Yeah.
So, is it really so monolithic?
I remember when I was 10 years old, seeing how the assassination of Dr. King, the effect it had on my parents. It's the first time I ever seen my father cry. So as a 10-year-old, I want to stop all this stuff. I want to stop this thing. I want to stop it. And so I prayed to God to let me be an FBI agent so I can stop these bad things that happen. I want to be an FBI agent so I can stop these. I'm serious. I prayed as a 10-year-old. I want to be an FBI agent so I can stop all these things that are happening. 10 years later, at 20 years old, I found out that the FBI was implicated in his assassination. And that's when I understood exactly what our relationship is to the system, to this government. And so yes, so the government will do certain things. They'll have the homeless shelters and that type of thing. More power to them, so on and so forth. That's cool. That's cool. I'm talking about those who run the show on behalf of the businessmen, the rich white businessmen. Those who run the show, the politicians, on behalf of the rich white businessmen. Do you know who's implicated in the death of Dr. King? The FBI, the military, and the Hunt brothers. Hunt's ketchup, Hunt's tomato sauce, Texas. This is some of the crew who's implicated in the assassination of Dr. King. And so a government is a government. A government is a government. And a government sure has control in different aspects of the society. Almost all aspects of the society, whether it's federal government, state government, or local government. So yes, definitely. This is our relationship. Because when we had stood up, do you know when crack hit? You know when crack hit? Crack hit in the early 80s, early to mid 80s. It wasn't a coincidence that when crack hit at that time, there was a mini 60s going on at that time. Even the Los Angeles Times had an article, Inner City Black Youth Becoming More Militant. That's when hip-hop was throwing down. That's when artists were, like, in almost all their videos, they had something about Malcolm in their videos. The early 80s was a mini 60s that was going on. Bam! Crack hits. And so, all I'm saying is that that's the relationship of our communities to this government. That the way that we're looked at in this society is that we're looked at as a security threat. That's how the government looks at us, as a security threat. And so therefore there are attempts made, not just attempts, they actually do it, to ensure that we do not rise up again. And so yeah, yes ma'am, it's definitely a monolith. Definitely.
What is the drive for this new 60s movement? And second question was...
What is the what?
The drive for this new 60s movement.
What do you mean by drive when you say
Well, what's prompting it? What's making it? You're saying there's going to be another 60s movement. What's making it happen? Figuring it out. And your views on Obama.
Views on what?
Obama.
Obama. Those poor and oppressed